Specialized language, the type of language used in specific disciplines to more effectively communicate the topics and ideas belonging to them. It is distinct from the languages of other areas and, especially, from non-specialized language. For example, the language of the experimental sciences, the language of economics, the language of the humanities, etc. When you start your university studies, you'll face many challenges. One challenge is going to be learning the types of new skills and knowledge you're going to need for your specific area of expertise. You're going to need that to do your assignments, to fulfill your evaluation requirements, and to gradually become more competent in your chosen field. Now, one important aspect of this is going to be learning the type of specialized language used to express these new skills and this new knowledge. And that language can vary significantly from what you're used to using in normal social contexts. It may also vary significantly from the sort of standard formal language you're used to reading in newspapers or when you have in your formal correspondence. Why is it so important to be able to navigate these specialized languages? Well, for one thing, these are the languages used to express the new knowledge and skills. It's what you're going to be hearing in your courses. You're going to be hearing it in your lectures. It's going to be what's used for your readings. You'll want to use it in your class discussions, etc. But also, the use of non-specialized languages can sometimes be considered inappropriate in some of these contexts. Using the wrong language can mark you as someone who's really not quite yet versed in their chosen field. So, whether you're producing or receiving this information as a student, you need to be able to master the kind of specialized language used for your particular degree. Now, academia is home to several different kinds of these types of languages. As we'll see throughout these videos, being fluent in them requires much more than simply memorizing a few technical terms and phrases. So how can we begin to understand specialized languages then? Well, one good way is to think about general, non-specialized languages. That would include informal conversation, or as we were talking a moment ago, maybe newspapers or even more formal registers, your correspondence with companies and things like that. This kind of language is sometimes called neutral or unmarked because it doesn't pertain to any particular area of activity. And it's basically the kind of language we use every day to read, to write, to listen, and all of our communication, basically. Obviously, when we produce this kind of standard language or social language, we modify it depending on whom we're talking to or writing to. We wouldn't use the same language to tell a colleague about something that we did last weekend as we might to, say, tell a doctor about a medical problem. Likewise, we wouldn't use the same language to text a friend as we would to send an email of inquiry to a company. When we read or listen to this kind of language, we're very sensitive to these types of nuances, and we're very capable of reproducing them in kind as needed. That type of modification involves many areas of language. It involves grammar, it involves punctuation, it involves vocabulary, syntax, intonation, and even certain types of conventions. How you greet people, how you apologize to people, how you ask for things. By the time we're adults, most of us can pretty much do this instinctively. And that's important because it shows that we're not only capable of making these kinds of changes and of hearing them and recognizing them in other people's speech, but we also do exactly that every single day. That's important because standard language is the basis for all specialized languages, and we already have enormous control over that. So the jump to controlling a specialized language really isn't as big as you might think. So how do we master a specialized language? In most cases, we need to be taught to go from the conversational to the specialized. That means understanding the elements of that particular specialized language so that we can identify them, model them, and ultimately produce them as and when required. This is important in the academic and professional worlds you're now entering because those elements are key to those worlds. They underpin what we call communities of discourse. To be part of your community, you have to learn how to speak its specialized language fluently, whether it's highly technical and abstract or far closer to the way we speak in ordinary social contexts. In all cases, to successfully engage with the academic and professional worlds, you do need to be able to use a specialized language fluently. By way of example, let's consider the following two excerpts. Both of them deal with the same topic, a study about how young people acquire digital literacy. The first is an informal conversation. The second is the abstract from the published study itself. Notice how they differ in terms of vocabulary, grammar, content, the use of the personal or impersonal voice, precision. Did you see the news last night? They had this segment about how kids and teenagers have gotten really good at computers, at using Google, Dropbox, whatever, and how they have this intuitive feel for how to do all these different things online. They were looking at kids from all over the world, not just here, and they were showing all these different examples of how they really just get computers, how to use them for work, to play, whatever. The International Computer and Information Literacy Study 2013, ICILS 2013, investigated the ways in which young people have developed the computer and information literacy, CIL, that enables them to participate fully in the digital age. This study, the first in international research to investigate students' acquisition of CIL, has been groundbreaking in two ways. The first is its establishment of a cross-nationally agreed definition and explication of CIL in terms of its component knowledge, skills, and understandings. The second is its operationalization of CIL as a cross-nationally comparable measurement tool and marker of digital literacy. Throughout these videos, we'll be focusing on the kind of language used in Excerpt B. This kind of language is very common in the university context. These specialized languages share many common features. They have academic communicative objectives. They avoid emotive content. They aim to be unambiguous. They use balanced argumentation. They focus on precise analysis, etc. But in these videos, we'll also look at a number of distinct types of specialized language. For example, a laboratory report, a poster presentation, a discursive essay, a book review. And we'll see how they're adapted to the exact needs and expectations of their particular contexts. Finally, what about audience? In these videos, we'll see that the target audience for a text also affects what type of language it uses. For example, a text written by a specialist in physics for other specialists in the field, for example, a paper given at a conference, will obviously use different language than another text that might also clearly be academic, but is intended for a much broader audience, such as a textbook for first-year undergraduates. Our purpose throughout these videos is to help you recognize and understand the specific features of these languages and to help you take the first steps towards a kind of confident and fluent use of these specialized languages that will mark you as a proficient member of your academic community.